Hey everybody, hey dolls. If you're catching this replay, I'm going to get started around the 5 minute mark to give everybody a chance to come in because this is not my usual kind of jam on a Tuesday. But yeah, I'm improvising. So if you want to skip ahead to the 5-6 minute mark, if you're on the replay, go ahead. To everybody else, hello. As you come in, don't forget to hit the like button. It lets YouTube know that you enjoy this content. And today we are going to be talking about self-love from a Christian perspective. I know this is not the usual, like I said, for a Tuesday, but I did not get to tape my video, y'all. Like, I have got to get it together when it comes to batch recording because it's just like I've just been trying to catch up, honestly. Since the year started, I've been trying to catch up. But I'm going to get this batch recording together. And honestly, because I changed the type of content I'm doing, it takes a little bit more research on the commentary type stuff and whatnot. So, yeah, that's why I just didn't get to tape this. But here we are. It's better to be done than perfect. So we're going to just go live and talk about it and make my points. I don't think I'm going to be on here for an hour. I'm going to try to treat it more so like a video would be. But, I'm here for conversation or anything like that. Feel free to share this out with 1 to 2 people and all of that good stuff. And hey, Alicia, how are you? And yeah, we're going to get it popping. But I am going to say some announcements since I am live. Might as well, might as well, right? Come on, done and perfect. Right. Like, I'm just like, because I really was debating. I was like, should I tape? Because my camera is literally right next to me, y'all, like right here to the left of me, your right or whatever. And I was like, should I tape and edit? Should I go live? Should I tape and edit? Should I go live? And I was like, I'm just going to go live because I got stuff to do today. I got to go work. I got to get stuff for Valentine's Day. I got a lot to do. I got to get my toes done because these things need to be done. Okay. So I'm like, I don't have time to edit and tape. Like, y'all just going to get this live stream and it is what it is. And honestly, a lot of my viewers say that they enjoy my live streams and they even watch the replay. I did not know that. I thought that when people just didn't catch it live, they just didn't watch the replay. Or maybe like I knew a few people that didn't catch it live, watch the replay, but I just figured, maybe it is what it is. But a lot of people were saying they like my live stream. So I was like, really? Okay. Hey, Alexis. Hey, sis. Thank you. I actually got this dress yesterday for $9, y'all. I was so excited. It was on clearance on the price tag for $15. When I got to the register, it ended up being $9. I was like, won't he do it? But I put it on and it's too short. I was like, oh my gosh, the woes of being a tall woman. So I'm just going to rock it like a shirt though. I'm going to wear like leggings with it and some cute boots or whatever, or booties, and call it a day. Because what we're not doing is wasting a $9 outfit. That's what we're not going to do. We're going to make this work, period. Like, we're going to be wearing this. Valentine's Day, yes, honey, okay? I have a prospect, but I'm not waiting on him. So if he doesn't take me anywhere, I'm going to be looking cute regardless, y'all. Y'all going to see it. You need to follow me on TikTok, y'all. I am so late on the TikTok trend. I'm eating all of the words, all of the shade I threw to TikTok. I really was not here for it. My best friend, one of my best friends, talked me into it, kicking and screaming. She was like, you got this. Like, you're a great content creator. You would thrive on TikTok. Give it a try. And I was like, oh, okay. And after I did the first few, I'm addicted. Like, I love TikTok. Like, it's like so easy. Like, I don't have to do all the extra stuff. Hey, Molly, how are you? So yeah, y'all gonna see a lot more like behind the scenes, just random stuff that wouldn't make sense to me to put on YouTube and that I don't care to put on Instagram. You'll see more of that on TikTok. So I'm excited. And you'll see my outfit because whether I go out with him or not, your girl's gonna be looking cute, period. And I'm gonna be I have a prospect. I guess you could say I have a Valentine, but I don't know. He hasn't really like solidified anything. Now, granted, he does work like crazy. But I'm like, come on, February 14th is Valentine's Day every single year. Like, we knew this. So, granted, I did meet him in November. But nevertheless, I'm just like, look, whether you take me out or not, I'm going to be looking good and enjoying myself. Hey, Tara, working but had to stop by. No problem. I'm glad you did. So, yeah, that's just kind of what I got going on. Yes, people go back and watch them. I didn't know for real. Right. I was like, because my lives be long. Y'all know I be rapping. I be talking for like an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours. And I'm just like, ain't nobody going to go back and watch this. And people literally are like, no, like I watch it. Like they put it on as like background noise while they're doing the dishes or cooking dinner or doing their hair or whatever. And I'm like, really? Okay. And I love live streams. But the way YouTube is, it's like you almost kind of have to have some uploads too, just for like, I guess, I don't know. I feel like they push out uploads a little bit more depending, but it depends on the topic as well, because I have had live streams. I got to get lotion. My hands are dry. I have had live streams get pushed out quite a bit, but I feel like when it comes to the masses, they're going to push out uploads better, at least from my channel. I don't know. I know people that literally just do lives and it works for them, but I feel like you have to be like a newsy type channel maybe for that to work. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. TikTok is fun. I'm eating all of my words because I was not here for it. I was like, every time you turn around, it's a new platform that you got to get used to. But listen, TikTok and YouTube about to be my two things. Instagram, I'm not going to leave it, but y'all just gonna get what you get on Instagram, like a random picture. I'm still recycling pictures from my 2020 birthday shoot on on Instagram, like with the red hair and stuff. Y'all gonna be seeing them things for the next 2 years. I'm gonna just archive them, bring them back out. Like it is what it is. I got on TikTok a while back, but I still don't love it. What? People post the weirdest things on there. Really? My feed so far is pretty cool. I think it depends on like over time what you interact with or something. At least that's what someone told me. But I literally post and get off. I don't linger too much, but I love it. Hey sis, how you doing? What November? That's a long time. Yeah, like it's a story. But I'm not gonna tell his story until I know where it's ending, because that's what we're not gonna do. You know, the best, right? You know, you help me get my daily things up. Really? See, you just don't be knowing how people consume your content sometimes. Same, right? You know, bring it back. Okay, I paid a lot of money for that photo shoot, so y'all gonna be seeing them pictures. Y'all gonna see them. I don't care. Like, and I have red hair, so it's like I know you've seen it. Like you know you've seen it, but you still gonna like it because the pictures are cute anyway. So who cares? You know, I'm getting all my money's worth. Okay, so it depends on who you follow. Okay, yeah, I don't follow a lot of people. I've had more so people following me now. But across the board with social media, I just try not to linger too much. Like I just post and get off, and then whatever people see, they see. That's a good color on you. Thank you. Yes, this dress is so cute. It's got like a little peplum bottom. You know how it like kind of frays out, but it's too short. So I'm gonna just wear it as a shirt. But anywho, let's go ahead and get started because I'm gonna be on here all day rapping, and I definitely said I got stuff to do. So you know, I just love talking with y'all. It's so fun, and I think that's another reason why people like the lives too, because it's more interactive. And that's one of the reasons why I like it too. It's interactive and it's easy. So, anywho, so today we're talking about self-love. I want to conquer it from a Christian perspective because self-love is something that we hear all the time. Like it is such what's the phrase that they be saying when it's like a hot topic? Dang. I forgot the word, but anyways, it's a hot topic. He's a buzzword. There we go. I was like, what do they call it? But yeah, it's a buzzword, like self-love, love yourself, this, that, the third. And so I wanted to talk about, like, first of all, what is self-love? Like the official psychological or whatever Webster dictionary definition. How do we love ourselves? You know, like why does it matter? I mean, just like, what does it kind of look like? I'm just going to kind of be like, you know, talking about that. So, and I apologize if you hear my son in the background because he's really hyped downstairs, and my mom and my sister. But anywho, so I looked up the definition of, it is somewhat controversial in the church, which I'm gonna get to in a second, particularly in the church. But I looked up the definition, and so the official like definition, and I say with quotes, but this is like the official long form Webster psychological definition is: self-love is a state of appreciation for oneself that grows from actions that support our physical, psychological, and spiritual growth. Self-love means having a high regard for your own well-being and happiness. So basically, in a nutshell, because it keeps going on and on, but basically like avoiding putting yourself in situations or doing things and sacrificing your own well-being just to please others. Like that's the bottom line that I got from it. I missed the live streams, way too much going on at once. I enjoyed the conversations the last. Oh, thank you, Tara. See, people love the lives. Like maybe I'll do live. Well, I do plan to do more lives, which thank y'all for voting, by the way. But I'll announce that at the end. So I'll say for me personally, because this is like, I feel like the topic of self-love honestly is opinion based. Like there is no hard and fast rule to be like, if you love yourself, you're in sin, you're wrong. Like it's not one of those things, but I feel like there are borders or boundaries to where we should keep ourselves in, to where it doesn't cross over into narcissism and like being self-centered and self-seeking and things like that. But I do think that you do need to love yourself. And so as Christians, like I said, a lot of people, or maybe not a lot, but some people will say like, we don't need more self-love per se. Like we just need to, because we're inherently lovers of ourselves. So they're like, we don't need to love ourselves more, which I mean, I see where they're coming from. we are lovers of self. You know, inherently our hearts do look towards our own selves. We don't naturally cling to the things of God and such. So from that standpoint, I get it. But however, while I feel our natural inclination might be to be more selfish in our human nature, I don't think that necessarily means that you're loving on yourself well. I think there's a distinction to be made, because I can have selfish intentions, but those selfish intentions or needs or wants or whatever could be leading me down a path of self-destruction. That's like, self-destruction isn't loving yourself well. So that's what I'm like, I'm thinking of it more so like, how am I loving on myself? How am I setting my life to benefit my best self, my highest being that God would want me to be, you know? So that's more so the standpoint that I'm coming from. So how do we love ourselves well? I think that's where we should start. And I have 3 points that I do want to point out, that I believe, just thinking about my own self-love journey, because I will give y'all a backstory. I mean, what's alive with me without a backstory, right? Or a video. But I just feel like over the last several years, I've been on a super duper self-love journey. Like, basically, I would say since I broke up with Christian's dad, when I found out I was pregnant, I was single for years. Like, I didn't get back into the dating scene until like August 2020. So I was single for 4.5 years. Yeah, 4.5 years. And I mean, I went on a date or two, but honestly, like, I can say I was chronically, perpetually single, and that was by choice, you know? So um, I really had to take a minute to just get myself together and just figure out, like, one, why am I putting myself in these situations that is not conducive to my best self, that's not conducive to the life that I want to live and stuff like that. And so even with me dating now, which y'all know it's quite ghetto out here a lot of the time, I'm still having to catch myself in those situations where it's like, okay, I feel myself going back to old habits. I feel myself going back into situations that aren't necessarily going to yield the best results. And why is that? Like, because nothing exists in a vacuum. So it's like, what are the things in your life that have triggered you or put you in a situation where now it's almost like you have like a cognitive dissonance, like you gotta get back to that thing that hurt you, even though you know it hurt you and it doesn't make any sense, but you keep going back to it. So it's like, that's what I've basically been on for the last few years. And so I've learned a lot about myself over the years. I think the word self-care is more key for me than self-love. I can see that too, but I think self-care, because it could be synonymous. I think it just depends on like how you define it. Like, it really depends on how you define it, what angle you're coming from. Because I don't think loving yourself is a bad thing, but I'm gonna get to that in a second, you know? So or I think I'm gonna get to it. Hopefully I do. I think it's in my notes, but nevertheless, so the first point I have is because we're answering the question, how do we love ourselves well? So I think the first thing that's important is to be kind to yourself and be patient in the journey that God has you on. So when we look at 1 Corinthians 13, verse 4, it mentions that love is patient and love is kind. And the standard of love is in the Bible, in my belief and in my opinion. You know, God is love. Like, it doesn't get better than that. It's a perfect, unfailing love. We can't even really fully emulate that as humans, but it's a good mark. It's almost like trying to be the Proverbs 31 woman. Like, you're never going to get it all together all the time. Like, that's just a good bar. It's a good goal to aim for. But as far as perfection and stuff, like, we just won't ever get there. I mean, we're human. Like, we can't ever be perfect. We're going to fall short. And so patience and kindness is part of the standard of love that God has for us to emulate to other people and to show to other people. But I really think that we can show that same kindness and patience to ourselves. And so, like, when I looked at the definition of kindness, because, you know, a lot of times you say words in your everyday language, but you don't really actively think of the definition, or really, like, you're not really able to put it like, okay, this is what it means type thing. So I looked up the definition of kindness, and it said it's the quality or state of being gentle and considerate. So when you think of that from, okay, I'm going to love on myself better, what does that look like? Like, being kind to yourself. Are you gentle with yourself? Are you considerate to the things that, or the things that you basically say that you want out of life? So when you view yourself, when you look at how you live your life, when you look at how you treat yourself, like, are you being Are you being gentle and are you being considerate? Do you give yourself, it's almost like, do you give yourself the same grace that you give to other people? And this is why I think self-love is important, and why it doesn't necessarily always have to be a negative thing, because a lot of us love other people very well. We love other people extremely well. We give our all to people. We do it all, especially in the church. Like, the church really has a problem with almost elevating. It's like, it's weird because the church is a dichotomy. So on one end, we really encourage loving on people well, sacrificing yourself for others, living, like, with the others before me mindset. But when you look at it from a day to day, by and large, if we're looking at church organizations, I feel like there are not enough that are doing enough in the communities that they're in. Not saying they're not doing anything, and I understand that one body, one church body obviously can't save the world, but for all of the church bodies that we have collectively in the world, I feel like we should be making just a little bit more of an impact. However, I will say the church is doing a lot that does not get covered, that does not get airtime, and things like that. So it's a dichotomy. Hey, Kim, I haven't seen you in a minute. I have not seen you in a minute, girl. I hope you're doing well. But yeah, like, I feel like it's a dichotomy, because on one end, that is the message, that's the doctrine, that's the belief, but it doesn't always translate. But again, going back to it, like, we're human. I get it, depending on where the church is, the people in the church, their financial situations, or their free time, or whatever. It's just like, it can ebb and flow. So I do think overall, as a collective, the church is doing pretty much better than the world would say. Like, the world will be like, oh, the church ain't doing nothing, da 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 da. Like, I think churches do a lot more than they get credit for. However, I do think that when we look at how we tend to love people, and I know I could look at this in my personal life and people that I know, we will go above and beyond for other people. We would make concessions for other people. We would give other people the benefit of the doubt. We would encourage other people. We will uplift other people. We will put them before us. But when it comes to us, we're our own worst critics. We're our own worst enemies. We're very cool to ourselves. We push ourselves past our boundaries and our limits, all for the sake of that endless sacrificial love, which ends up hurting us more in the long run, because now you are burnt out. Now you're feeling unseen. Now you're feeling unheard. Now you're feeling unloved, because it's like, it's not being returned to you in the way that you're giving it out. And so I run into this a lot with a lot of people. And like myself, like I said, I have to catch myself, because I am a doer. I love to love on people. I love to do all of the things, but I don't give that same energy to myself. And so it's almost like, I don't think it's a bad thing to be like, I need to take care of me just as much as I take care of other people. Because if you don't, like, you're gonna expire. Like, you're gonna have a moment where, or you're gonna reach a point in the road where you hit the wall, and it's like, I can't, and you can't even love people as good as you possibly could, because you haven't taken the time to pour into yourself. So it's like, I think that in this example, like, where I'm coming from with it, it's like, that's where that phrase, have grace towards yourself, comes into play. And that's like a form of love, of loving on yourself, self-love, whatever you want to call it. But I'm more so, like I said in the beginning, coming from the standpoint of, how are you loving on yourself? Not a selfish, inherent wickedness, sinful self-love, selfish ambition. Like, how are you treating yourself and stuff like that. So that's where that self-care and the self-love becomes synonymous at that point. That's where they intersect. But I know people who literally will bend over backwards for people, like, give them the shirt off their back, do the most, and they do not take care of themselves. And taking care of yourself is more so than just your ambitions and stuff too. But I think I have that later in my notes. But it really is a form of people pleasing, and a lot of us get stuck in that cycle of people pleasing when we take a sacrificial, communal love, and like, I want to look out for my neighbor, like a neighborly love. When we take it to an extreme, now you're bending over backwards, and now you're loving at your own detriment. And that's not good, because like I said, at the end of the day, you're going to hit the wall at some point and it's going to come back to bite you in the behind. So, you know what I'm saying? But let me see what y'all saying. I know, girl, I'm good. Good. Yeah, we got to link up about the trip that you're supposed to be making. Whenever you get a chance, we got to link up, because I know we got some time. Self-respect is self-care. Exactly. there's so many different egos and missions to have people come together. Right. I totally feel what you're saying. Okay, cool. Cause I was just like, I don't want you to think I'm not like hearing you. So, but yeah, I think we're saying the same thing from the same place, just different wording. So let me scroll down on my notes. Let's see. Yeah, I talked about the people pleasing. Oh, and also I do want to mention before I continue on this point, a lot of us have negative self-talk too. And we don't, again, like when you're uplifting other people and stuff, it's like you can instantly go into positivity mode. Like I know that's me all day. I'm gonna be the biggest cheerleader. I'm gonna gas you up. I'm gonna be like, yeah, da da da. But then like I would, especially in my younger days, and I could get caught up in this now if I'm not careful, but the negative self-talk, the negative thinking, literally being your own worst enemy, your own worst critic, and believing the lies that the enemy tells us or tries to convince us are true. And so I think a large part of this is because, again, we're taught to always put others before ourselves, especially amongst the body of believers. But it's such a dichotomy, y'all. It's really weird. Sorry, I got to keep drinking this lemon water because my throat, like I sprayed makeup spray and it went up my nose and my throat has been itching. So I was coughing like crazy earlier. And also too, why I think it's important to draw the line so that you don't end up bending over backwards at your own detriment is because in this world, people will take advantage of it. Whether they're in the church or not, they're not exempt. People are people. If you give them an inch, most of them are going to take a yard. Like that's just, it's a harsh reality and it's unfortunate, but it's just what it is. So you always have to have a strong sense of boundaries, which is point number 2. But I do want to touch on the patience in point number 1. And so I did look up the definition of patience as well, because I was like, you know what, like I really want to just get a hard and fast definition because we use it so much in our everyday vocabulary. It's like, can we really honestly define it in a concise way, And so patience by definition is being able to accept or tolerate delays, problems, or suffering without becoming annoyed or anxious. And so I believe that loving yourself well comes with having patience in the journey that God has you in. Because again, God is love. He's the only person that's going to love you perfectly, period. Like, I don't care who it is, husband, wife, children, mom, dad, like they all going to have flaws when it comes to loving you. And we're going to have flaws when it comes to loving them because we're just flawed people. Like, I don't care. That whole belief that like the more you grow in God, the closer you get to perfection, or like you could attain perfection. There are some people that actually believe that, and that is a lie. Like, you're never going to be perfect. Like, you're literally chasing a moving goalpost. It's never going to be attained. Just, and that's not to say you shouldn't try to be better, but like perfection can't be attained. So anywho, resting in God's timing and embracing your personal journey of where you are will essentially help you with patience over time, which will essentially help you to be kinder to yourself and love on yourself better, because it's going to lower the occurrences of irritation and anxiety. Like it said in the definition, being able to endure delays, problems, suffering without becoming annoyed or anxious. And that anxiety comes when we want to rush God's path for us, or when we start comparing. Okay, comparison is literally the thief of joy. And I feel like joy is a result of loving on yourself well. And loving on yourself well requires that you're spending time with God. Like, because again, He is love. He's the source of love. So when you start questioning God's sovereignty over your life and His timing and His divine timing and all that, and you start looking to the left, you're looking to the right, you're comparing this person, and then you start to covet, because hardly do you compare and not covet. In my experience, maybe it's different for y'all, but in my experience, it's like once I start comparing and going down that rabbit hole, I start to covet what people have or where they are in their lives and stuff like that. And it's just not a good look, because now, you're not, it's almost like a slap in the face to God. Like, how are you going to covet what He gave to someone else as if He doesn't have His blessings and His divine plan for your life? Like, it really is a dark place to be in, and it really is a rabbit hole that you can find yourself in. So you have to master as best as you can the art of contentment and understanding that like God has everything for you in the time that He needs to have it in your life. Like, there's nothing that's for you that's going to miss you, type of thing. And you have to rest in that sovereignty, which is all, again, part of loving yourself well. And so what you can find as you go down that rabbit hole of comparison and coveting is that you might even go so far as to take matters into your own hands to get the result that you want, because now you're like, okay, God clearly doesn't know what He's doing. God's not, paying attention to me, this, that, the third. You clearly aren't being patient, and you clearly are not, having the joy and contentment that you need to be having in the season that you're in, even though it might be a fight. There's always some joy to be had. Even in the darkest hour, there's always even a glimmer of hope. But so all this ends up doing, as you start trying to take matters into your own hands, is it leads to a false sense of gratification and greater disappointment down the road. So it's like dating. I love to use dating examples because most of us can relate. Even if you got a boo now, you were single at some point and you were dating. So as you're waiting on someone, as I'll talk from a woman's perspective, because I'm not a man, I can't really talk about, how men view it. But as a woman, as you get older, especially if you desire to get married and have children, because if you don't desire one or the other, or you don't desire either, it's a different conversation. But the older you get, you're waiting, you're trying to do things the right way, you're really holding out or whatnot. You're trying to honor God in the journey and everything like that. And then you look to your left and your right, and it's like everybody else that's not doing it the way that you believe is the best way to do it, the way that is the best way to honor God, they're getting chose. Okay, they out here straight wilding, and they're getting chose, and you just like, wait a minute now, wait a minute, God. Like, I'm trying to walk this path. I'm trying to honor you. I'm trying to do what I know will bring you glory. I'm really trying to like put boundaries in place and walk this straight and narrow. And I'm constantly getting overlooked. And this person over here has no sort of boundaries, has no sort of standards, is literally down for whatever. And they getting chose, and not only chose, but they getting a ring put on it. They getting catered to. Like, make it make sense, And that's the world that we live in nowadays, where it's like when you try to do things the way that you know is going to honor God and yourself, then it's like, what in the world? Like, it's just not in. It's just not in. When you're doing right, wrong is always close by. That is a word on today's. Okay. And then it's almost like you said, wrong is around the corner. Like, you almost become a target in a way, because it's like people can tell when you're just of a different caliber. Like, I don't want to make it seem like, oh, I'm better than you because I'm not doing this, that, because even if I'm not doing XYZ, I'm doing ABC or 1, 2, 3. Like, I'm doing something. Like, no one's perfect. We all have our flaws, or where we fall short. But when you honestly are giving it an honest shot, it's just like, dang, like, and then all you meeting are users, moochers, narcissists, jerks, and you're just like, dang, like, okay, is it me? Like, because people be like, well, you attract what you are. So you're like, well, is it me? And they're like, well, I'm doing the work. I'm healing. I'm getting the counseling. I'm praying to God. I'm working on being kinder to myself, doing things that will benefit my higher self in the long run. So make it make sense. Like, it's really weird how it happens, but we know it's nothing but a trick of the enemy and an attack of the enemy. But still, it's like you get caught up in it because they never come as they end up leaving. They don't come as a narcissist. They come as a knight in shining armor that's so loving and thoughtful and this, that, the third. And then he ends up leaving almost like the devil himself. And you're just like, what in the world? Like, how did I get caught up in this? And so, you're like, well, I'm going to take matters into my own hands, because clearly walking this right path, trying to honor God and honor myself and all, like, it ain't working, because I ain't getting chose. I ain't getting the ring. I ain't getting none of that. I'm just getting somebody's dusty, raggedy son, using me up and dragging me out and just like, just not loving me the way I deserve to be loved. And so you're like, well, I'm gonna just do it this way. And you go out there and you do it that way, and it ends up in greater disappointment down the road. Because that, first of all, this is an aside because this isn't in my notes, but that grace that person had to do that thing that they know at the end of the day was not necessarily honoring to God, or was just completely downright wrong, whatever it is, because there's a variety of things that you could be doing. And that person had the grace to cover that. So they might have done XYZ and it ended up working out in the end. You might try to go and do XYZ and it ends up going down a completely different rabbit hole and literally ruining not your life forever, because God's always going to turn it around for his good, and for his glory, but it ends up taking you down an unnecessary pitfall. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we have to be careful. And sometimes it happens. I'm not coming from a high place. I have fallen into things that I said I'm never going to do again, even this year. Okay. And we not even a full 2 months in. And I have fallen into things where I'm like, dang, I thought I matured from this. I thought I was past this. So I'm not coming from a high place, you know. And if you do stumble and you find yourself taking matters into your own hands and it doesn't work out, like you could always course correct, even if, you know, worst case scenario happens, even if you're like, dang, like I really didn't expect it to escalate to this point, you could always bounce back. Like nothing is ever really like the end of it. You know what I'm saying? Like God can always turn it around for you. Not dusty, raggedy son, raggedy sons. Okay. It's right. We got to do better. Like this is why I'm so like Christian gonna be different. He's gonna be different. Like I just want whoever he dates and ultimately marries to be like, thank you. And I'm gonna be like, girl, I got you. Like I already knew because it was ghetto when I was out here dating. So I can only imagine what your generation is going through. So you're welcome. Okay. I was thinking of you from day one. Like I was thinking of you because I just don't want him to be out here damaging people's daughters. Like, and let me find out he's doing some foolishness. I'm gonna embarrass him. Okay. So he don't want it because I am that mom that will embarrass you and call you out and tell you about yourself, you know, in front of the girl. As she brings the receipts, I will embarrass you in front of the girl. Don't try me. Okay. But anywho, so, you know, impatience will have you going down the wrong path and really just not really trusting God, you know, because it's easy. And that all starts from comparison. Like I said, it's easy to do that. So that dating example is just an excuse, or I mean, not an excuse, an example, but I have been in that situation in dating, particularly where I'm like, I'm tired of waiting. I'm gonna go out here. I'm gonna do it like everybody else does it. And let me tell you, I don't have the same grace a lot of people have. God does not grace me to be out here in the foolishness like he does with other people. Like I have to bear the brunt of it all when I, you know, let it get too far gone. So, but I have learned even when I let it get too far gone, I won't let it take away how I won't let it take away me having a healthy view of myself. So for instance, like when I got pregnant with Christian, I literally had so much negative self-talk. I went through depression. I went through so much anxiety just about like, how am I going to be a mom and this and that, the third. I went through so much embarrassment. I internalized a lot of what the world and even people in the church, thankfully not my particular church, but just again the church in broad, you know, in general, the collective church had to say about my situation, the gossip, the backstep. Like I literally went through it in my pregnancy. I'm shocked that I have such a happy child because that's nothing but God. Because you know they say like when you're pregnant, your emotions during your pregnancy affect your child and stuff. But Christian is a super happy child. Like because I was going through it, y'all. Like I was not emotionally in a good place for majority of my pregnancy. And so I really just viewed myself as lesser than, as a second class citizen, a second rate Christian, as not worthy, as this, the third. I had literally zero self-love, like zero. I didn't feel I was worthy of love. I didn't feel anybody should love me, could love. Like I literally thought the worst. And then I also had existing health conditions before that had already made me feel like, oh, who's going to want to deal with someone that has to go to the doctor so much, who has to do the you know, so that just made it worse. And I was just like, yep, I'm done for. Like it's not going up after this. Granted, had that happened now after I've been on my journey of like learning to love on myself better, learning to view myself how God views me, I wouldn't have allowed it to get to that point. I would not fall into a depression at this point. You know, I would not talk down to myself and be like, oh, ain't nobody gonna love you, da da da. Like, you know, I would not pay attention to the people that got something negative to say. Yes, it would not be, it's not an ideal situation. It would not be an ideal situation, but I would not let it get me to that point where I count myself out. I'll be like, you know what? It happens. Like, should it have happened? Technically, no, but God's gonna get the glory, and I'm not gonna let it like stop my life and how I'm living, you know? So that's just an example. But wait, I'm not even getting the dust raggedy. Sis, you don't want dust. You don't. I'm allergic. I'm not really allergic to dust, but I'm allergic to the dustiness. And you don't want it, sis. I'd rather be left alone right now. Like when I tell you they have been resurrecting from the dead, I'm getting people texting me and calling me that I gave my number in like 2020 and they talk about some, hey, what's up? Like trying to pick up where we left off. And I'm like, who are you? Like, we haven't talked since summer 2020, sir. Why are you texting me? Like, make it make sense. You're good, sis. That's protective custody. God is like, you don't want this. I do know women who didn't marry a godly man and it has really extremely negatively affected their life. Yeah, like it's crazy. You really got to have a man who truly has God's heart, and truly has eyes for you and truly has a heart to love you, because it's crazy. Like I was literally talking about this with one of my subscribers who's like a little sis to me the other day. I was like, you really just don't know. Like in the game of love, you truly just don't know who you're getting. Like you really don't. It's all a risk. It's all a gamble. It's like, God, go before me. Like you truly need the God of angel armies to walk before you, because you just don't know. Sometimes people change over time. Like you literally just don't know. And so you can get very anxious if you sit and think about it. Like, dang, like what if this happens? So it's truly a God walk. Hey Shay, super late and mad about it. It's okay. And you can watch the replay for the first few points. I don't want to keep y'all too long, since this is like a random impromptu live, because I was slacking on taping. And I was like, what we're not about to do is rush the tape and edit. We're just gonna go live. I can relate to that mindset of feeling like I'm too much for my health. Right. It's easy to feel, because it's like when you listen to the world, even just learn, you don't even got to look to the world for real. Look on YouTube, like type in single mom on YouTube. Y'all do that after you get off this live if you haven't yet, and tell me what you see. It is extremely discouraging. It's nothing but slander, nothing but hate opinion pieces, negativity, demeaning comment. I mean, it's just, I've actually had people leave whole essays on my videos about single moms. But when I first started YouTube, I didn't have the filter in place of like how to hide potentially offensive comments. So they used to make it on the channel, but I would always catch it because I didn't have a lot of subscribers back then. So I would delete it. I would tell them like, I mean, thanks for writing this, but I'm not reading it, and then delete and block them. Now it doesn't even make it to my channel. Like I'll get the notification in the studio that they left the comment, but it doesn't show up on the video because I hid those comments. Because I'm like, I try to create an atmosphere of love on my channel, of support. Like Tara said the other day, my channel is like when you go to grandma's house, where it's like I'm good, doesn't matter what's going on in the world, like I'm with my family, I'm with my grandma. It's the love, it's all of that, the peace of mind. Like that's what I try to emulate. I try to emulate grandma's house on my channel. And so we're not always going to agree. I'm not always going to say stuff that gets a ton of fanfare, but I don't want people who are of a certain people group to come on my channel and feel like they're being targeted, and especially if I'm a part of that people group. Hello, like I'm a single mom, so even if I wasn't, like I just don't want people to come on my channel and feel like it's nothing but demeaning and being talked down to and stuff, because that's not the vibe at all. Like we're not doing that. Only 1% of humans will enter heaven and 99% will be in hell. I mean, I don't know the percentage. Nobody does. That's up to God. As long as I'm in that number, going to heaven. What type of comments? How do you block them? So you have to go in the studio, and I think you have to go to channel settings, but I think you could do this individually for each video. And when you scroll all the way past, I think it's past tags, it says like, I think it says like let all people comment or show all comments or something like that. But around there it says hide potentially offensive comments or something like that. So I'm gonna look for it. If you want a screenshot, I could text you a screenshot because it is there. I just gotta remember how to get to it. I would love for you to touch on moms and how so many of us stop taking care of ourselves physically, which I really think affects confidence and stuff. Yes, that is a huge one. And that's actually part of point number 2. So that's a good one. But I am going to do a video like touching more on that. I'm going to write that down after this live. Okay, please. Yeah, I'm going to text you after this because I got to play around with it. I can't remember step by step. So the second part that I believe goes into self-love from a Christian perspective is to establish and enforce boundaries for your mental, physical, and spiritual health. So like I said in point 1, the beginning of point 1, if we're not putting those, was it the beginning of point 1? Either way, I said earlier in this live, if we're not putting those boundaries in place and we're like doing the absolute most to please people, to like love on people and not even giving some of that same energy to ourselves, you're going to be depleted. And so like Molly had said, as moms, a lot of us love on our children super well, as we should. There are babies, like, I'm sorry, there's no love on earth, I feel, that compares to a parent's love. Like, it's so overwhelming in a good way. Like it just fills you up. Like it seeps out of your pores. Like it just, I can't even describe it. But like, if you're not a parent yet, if you do become a parent in the future, you'll get it. And if you are a parent, I know you know what I'm talking about. But we really do the most for our children. We go above and beyond and everything. But then when it's all said and done, we are depleted, we are tired, we're not getting proper rest, we're not eating well, you know. And for me, that really affects me during the day when I don't eat on time and I don't eat the right things because of my pre-existing health conditions. Like, it's my diet and what I eat has to be very, it's actually gotten more restricted recently. That was a health scare I was talking about last month on one of my live streams, if y'all were wondering. But I had a health scare, and so it's even more restricted now. And so I feel it physically, like with my stuff going on, my body lets me know quickly if I'm not on point, you know. And rest and all of those things matter, y'all. Like, it really does. Drinking your water, taking time to exercise or get some sort of physical activity. And even if you don't have a child yet, like I said, put these things in place now, set these boundaries now, so that way you're in the habit of taking care of not only your mental and emotional, but your physical, your temple, you know, because it's literally a chain effect. Like, it starts in the mind. So if your negativity is starting in the mind with negative thoughts, negative self-talk, negative whatever, it's going to come out in your actions towards yourself. So you're going to be neglecting your health. You're not going to be eating things that you know you should eat. You're not going to be staying hydrated. You're not going to be getting physical activity. As you get older, you can't eat like you're in high school anymore, y'all. I know, shocker. But it's just like, and when you hit your 30s, or you're not in your 30s yet, that metabolism, like, y'all, it is no joke. That metabolism and weight loss and all that, it gets harder. It doesn't necessarily become like super, super hard, but it definitely gets harder. So you gotta like start now. If you're in your 20s, start now, establish these things now, you know, just make better choices. And then it's when you aren't taking care of yourself mentally and physically, it's going to show in how you treat other people because you're tired. So how do you treat other people? You're snappy, you're irritable, you're just not in a good mood. Like, your energy towards other people, how you come off and everything is just completely just not where it should be, especially as believers. And I'm not saying that as believers we should always be joyous and like, hey, God is good all the time and won't he do it? Like, that's because that's fake. And we can see through that. But the thing about joy is that it shows even when you're going through it. And real joy is not that stereotypical, like I said, the Christian colloquialisms and stereotypes. That's not that. It's truly just something that you can tell. You know, it's like you don't look like what you've been through type thing, or like it just oozes out of you. Like, you just have a light about you. Like, you could walk in the room and people could just tell type of thing. So you have to set boundaries. You have to establish them first. Figure out what your boundaries are. And the reason why you have to establish boundaries and enforce them is so that not only you understand how you're going to love yourself better, but you can communicate that to other people and what you need them to do to help you in this journey. So I said mental, physical, and spiritual because those are the most, like, you know, foundational, but obviously like how you treat other people and stuff, like establish those boundaries, how you're going to show up for other people and stuff too. But we're talking about self today, you know, self-love. So that's why I said those three things. But figure out like what those boundaries are going to be, because this is going to help establish your strong foundation. Like, this is where my foundation is. This is where the line is drawn. This is where the limit is. And so you're not leaving the door open to run yourself ragged. You're not leaving the door open to start stressing, leading yourself again in those situations of disappointment, or where you're like snappy at other people and stuff like that, or even when you start settling, which I'm gonna get to the settling part in a little bit, because I think the settling, I'm going to use a dating example for that too, because it's just so easy to pull on. It's love month. Why not? You know? So figure out those boundaries so that you don't end up compromising yourself and your standards, you know, and blowing it all to the wind, because boundaries and standards really go hand in hand too. So when you say like, I'm not going to, like, for instance, let's say you make a commitment to eat clean, like super clean. There's so many diets out there that can help you with this too, by the way, if you do want to do that. But let's just say that you're like, okay, I'm going to eat clean. I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to put down the saturated fats, the fried foods. I'm going to drink way more water, stay away from the processed sugars, all that kind of stuff. The higher you walk in that journey and the longer you walk in it, the more, hey Desiree, hey sis, I hope you're doing good. The longer you walk in that journey and the higher you get up in that like ladder of clean eating, the more it's gonna be hard for you to find people that relate to that. And so you have to set that standard, because you have to be able to communicate that to people, because a lot of people are not going to be walking that journey with you. So let's say you are clean eating or whatever, and you have friends that like to go to Buffalo Wild Wings, or some pizza place that, like, down here Mellow Mushroom is a big one that people love, so they want to go to Mellow Mushroom every week, excuse me, and they want to be just tossing back pizza, wings, breadsticks, like the whole nine. And you're like, dang, like, I really made this commitment, like I want to do better in this area, and I don't want to like seem like the oddball out, like they're inviting me to go out, I'm like, oh no, I don't want to go, oh no, I can't go, no, no. So you got to let your friends know, like, listen, I'm eating clean now because I want to live as long as I could possibly live. I want to live a good, thriving, healthy life, because that's what God has for me. He does not want me to be aching and hurting and my joints going out at a young age and all that, and organs failing and whatnot. Like, I gotta live my best life to the best that I can live it, and I have to be an active participant in my health. So we can hang out, but if y'all trying to go to all these restaurants with nothing but fatty foods and stuff, and no like for real healthy options, then I'm gonna have to, and you're trying to do that every week or multiple times a week, I'm gonna have to bow out gracefully, because it's not gonna work for me. So, naturally, when you set that boundary, when you set that boundary in your life and you enforce that boundary, you're gonna have people that drop off. You're gonna have people that are like, oh well, can't talk to her anymore, like, because she's doing the most. So don't take all of that. Like, come on, you used to have fun. Even in relationships, I know one of my old best friends, because we don't talk anymore, but her sister was married to a guy that was not supportive of her health and fitness journey at all. She had lost a ton of weight, got really, really in shape, and she was really committed to it. And this is over, like, I would say maybe 2 years. So she really stuck with it, and you saw the results. And I mean, she just felt better. She felt like more confident. You could see she was radiating and just in a better space, because also your physical health does affect your mental. Like, they literally affect each other. And he would, at first, he was like, yeah, it's cool. You could lose 5-10 pounds, whatever. And then after a while, when the weight really started coming off and he saw that she was like just overall in a better place, he did not support it at all. And he would like purposefully try to thwart her plans. Like, he would order a ton of Pizza Hut late at night and be like, come on, let's watch movies, let's eat this pizza and stuff. She's like, no, like, I can't. That goes against my diet. He'd be like, you never want to do stuff with me anymore. You think you better than me, and da 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 da. And mind you, he was in shape, but I think he thrived off the fact, no, I don't think, obviously, he thrived off the fact that she was in a bad place, because she was not in the place that she wanted to be health-wise. And so it affected how she viewed herself. It affected how she treated herself. It affected how, just her whole life, what she did and everything. And he would literally do this back to back to back. And it got to the point where now they're divorced. But it was other stuff along with that. But those are the little things that started like the beginning of the end, because it was like, he saw in her, when they met, basically, he saw her in her state where she was not loving herself properly, where she did not take care of herself, where she had to heal from past childhood traumas and past things that happened, and things that she beat herself up for that happened in her life that are not her fault, but she feels like they're her fault and she's blaming herself for. And all these things that affected how she was eating, how she was not exercising and taking care of her body, how she was literally believing the lies that the enemy tells us. And that manifested physically in her life, to where when she was dating the wrong guys, see that and they prey on you. Like, you might think you're presenting yourself as confident and you're doing all this kind of stuff and whatnot, but if you don't truly work on your emotional and mental health, and you don't truly have a sense of confidence that comes from God, not worldly, like, oh yeah, I'm a baddie. I mean, and I joke like that, like, yes, we're all baddies. We're all like, I'm not saying we're not baddies. We're baddies, period. If you follow me, you a baddie. But seriously, like, where you really just like think about, what does God say about me? Like, who am I? Like, honestly, who am I? What are my quirks? What are my unique personality traits? Who does God say that I am? And you truly believe that you are a queen, you truly believe that you are chosen and set apart, that shows. You ain't got to say nothing. Like, people can tell just when you walk in the room, but when you present a faux confidence, like, yeah, I'm a baddie, da 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 da, and it's all bark and no bite, people can tell that. You might think that you look confident, but they can read right through it, and that's how you attract predators. And so that's what she was attracting, because she was not loving herself well for several years. And so that's how she met him. And then when she had the epiphany, when she had the wake up moment and the wake up call, and it was like, okay, I got to change because now it's affecting my health. It's affecting how I parent my children. It's affecting how I show up at work. It's affecting how I treat my family and friends. It's affecting what I do, what I feel comfortable doing, what I feel I'm capable of doing. It's affecting my mental. It's affecting all these things. And she started course correcting. Now it's like, whoa, no, I don't, I don't like this newfound you, this confidence, this self-care, this self-love from a healthy place. Oh, nah, I didn't sign up for this, That's not it. I've been convicted that I need more boundaries in life. It keeps coming up. So thanks for the reminder. No problem, sis. I'm glad that I could remind you because in this season, it's a good time to sit and think about those boundaries. You're right. I stopped eating red meat and pork over 20 years ago. Nice. That's good. And my family still thinks it's weird. People still ask me, you still don't eat meat? Y'all, it's been 20 years. No, I don't eat meat. Stop asking me. They know good and well. It is horrible. I felt so bad for her watching her on that journey because I knew her since I was like 13, 14. And I saw over the years how not loving herself well led down that dark path. But then I saw the glow up and the come up when she did start loving herself well. But then I saw how it affected her marriage. And it was like, dang, like people really be preying on you if you don't like take that time to see yourself how God sees you and to love yourself appropriately. Excuse me. Sorry, y'all. That's why I pray. I hope I'm in a good spot when I get a man. Right. Like it's so scary because it's like you just don't know. And it's like there are men who will find you at your worst and love you to your best, but you gotta really you gotta pray and ask that God. Y'all, it's scary out here. How long you been here? Hey sis, I've been on here since about 11:45. So you missed quite a bit, but it's okay, sis. It's all good. It's all good. Like I'm gonna put this right up. I just gotta change the thumbnail, but it'll be up right after I get off of here. So, and I only have one more point. You still don't eat meat. Right? Like they know they wrong for that one. She don't eat no red meat. Stop asking. But but yeah. So that's just an example of like when you start enforcing boundaries and stuff. It's gonna get some people annoyed. It's gonna get some people upset because they're used to you not having boundaries. They're used to you being at your lowest, not loving yourself the way that God and seeing yourself the way that God would want you to. And so when you start going on that journey, be prepared to lose some folks. You might lose everybody, depending. I have seen that happen. I've been through that. When you look up, and you're like, dang, like they all left. It just makes you. And then the bad part about that, or like the shocking part, not even so much bad because it's good if they leave, is that you realize how many predators and vultures you had around you. Like you thought these people were really like your friends, like practically family, and they up and leave. You're like, dang, like I really confided in y'all. I really depended on y'all all this time. Like it really just makes you think back, like, wow, you really got to be careful with the company that you keep because you just don't know. And so basically, if you're going to love yourself better, you have to be okay with setting your boundaries, standing 10 toes down on that, and communicating it confidently. And whatever the outcome is the outcome. If people leave, oh well, don't let the door hit you with a good Lord split you. If they stick around and they help you, then great, because you might end up encouraging the people too to be like, you know what? I've been knowing I need to make this change for a while, but seeing you actually commit to it makes me step it up. Like I've had friends tell me when I got back serious on my weight loss journey in 2020 with everything happening and we had nowhere to go and stuff, they were like, you encouraged me to get back in the gym because like I knew I had to do it, but I was just making excuses and stuff. So then seeing you do it every day, and back then I used to put it on my stories almost every day on Instagram, like me and Christian dancing and stuff and like what I was eating and whatnot. Now I done got lazy with it, but as far as recording it, but they were like, yeah, like you inspired me. So you just never know. Some people will dip out and some people will be encouraged and be like, yeah, like I'm gonna step it up. I would say my youngest taught me how to love and what love truly, yes, like children, when you have a child, that love is crazy. Like it's crazy. They can get on your last nerve and then you're still like, come give mommy a hug. It's such a weird relationship, but it's just amazing. It really gives us a glimpse into how God loves us, And even from that standpoint, like from a parent to child, like I want my son to love himself properly. I want him to have a healthy sense of self, not from an arrogant worldly sense, but just like I know who I am, whose I am. I'm going to love on myself well. I'm going to make sure that I'm doing things that are edifying and honoring to God, within my best abilities, and call it a day. Yes, I'll fall. Yes, I'll stumble. Yes, I'll make mistakes, but I want him to definitely have that mindset and to act accordingly so that he can also treat, like I said, other people the same way, and especially people's daughters, because he is not going to be dusty and musty. Okay. Like it can't be raggedy at all. He gonna be a good husband and father one day, period. If that's what he chooses to do, and that's where God leads him. So let's get into the third point, because I think I talked about everything in the second point. Yep. So the third point I have about loving yourself properly is embrace the power, embrace the power of validating yourself. So I will preface this and say we all need affirmation. We all need to be uplifted by other people. We all need external validation in some way, shape, or form. So I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, you need to validate yourself. You shouldn't look to anybody for a compliment or a word of encouragement. Like, no, encourage me, because words of affirmation is my second strongest love language. So affirm me, tell me you're proud of me. Tell me you love me. Tell me I'm smart, I'm beautiful, whatever. Like I'm here for all of it. But I also had to get to a point where I am okay, not no dust, no muss, period. Okay. I also have to get to a point where I can do that for myself, because you don't want to get to a point where you become codependent on other people's validation, where you become codependent on other people telling you this is who you are, this is what I think, this, that, the third. And if you're not hearing it, then you like seek it out, because that again makes you take matters into your own hands. Like I know women, and in my 20s, I've been this woman too, where well, I should say my early 20s. Yeah, like my early 20s, I was this woman. And I know women like this still to this day. I'm just gonna stick with the dating examples. Like if they're dating a guy and maybe he's not the best at words of affirmation. It's not that he doesn't love you. It's not that he doesn't think you're beautiful, you're smart, you're talented, you're all of that, but he just isn't the type to always say it. And then you need it. Maybe you're like, I need to hear it every day. Like I need to hear you affirm me in some way, shape, or form every single day. And so because you're not getting it from him, now you go out and you seek it from other men, because it's like, well, or maybe you don't even seek it, because you know how the devil is. Like you won't be getting it at home, but then you go to work and there's that dude there that's like, man, I love your outfit. Like you look so beautiful. You always know how to dress, and your hair is always done well. Man, you're so smart. Like in the staff meeting, when you told the boss this, that, like that was smart. I've been saying for a while, like you be having the best ideas. You want to go to lunch? Next thing you know, you're like, I'm not even getting affirmed at home, man. This man really be like affirming me. Got to head out to start homeschool with the kids. Thank you, Rondelle, for this live. Great way to start. No problem, Molly. And hopefully you can come back later and catch the replay, because I'm almost done. Lord, deliver my son from dusty messiness. Exactly. We don't want our sons to be dusty and musty, Lord. Just cover all the sons on this line. That work husband, yes. And then he's like, you want to go to lunch? I'll pay. Don't let him say he'll pay, because that is a trick of the enemy, especially for me, because I love someone to treat. You treat and I'm eating. Okay, so say less. Let's go. So you go to lunch. You already not feeling affirmed at home and whatnot. And so then you're at the table and he's like, yeah, this, that, woo, woo, woo. He's listening to everything you say. You're feeling seen. You're feeling heard. He done told you you're beautiful already for the day, or you have a beautiful outfit. Maybe he wasn't that frank and upfront, but he was like, you got a beautiful outfit, this, that, the third. So you're all in. And then next thing you know, it starts with that one lunch, and then you're eating lunch together every other day. Then you're eating lunch together every day. And then you go home because that guy spent the last 7, 8, 9 hours affirming you in different ways. Now you go home and your man, your husband, whoever, boyfriend, husband, whoever you live with, he's just not affirming you. He loves you. He thinks you're beautiful. He thinks your outfit is fire. He thinks you have a great sense of style, but it's just run of the mill. Hey, babe, he's going to the kitchen, getting his dinner, whatever. And now you like, this man never affirms me. And so now you go in the room, you're changing your clothes, you're washing off your makeup, and that man at work, that work husband's running in your head, and you're like, yeah, he is tall. That beard is on point. Yeah, he does dress well. Yeah, and see, he sees my work. My man doesn't see it, and so now you can be having a whole affair at work. I know it's like, how in the world did we get here? But I'm telling you, like, this is how it happens. It's a slow fade. Shout out to Kim. You can't be shouting out the work husbands when I'm using them as an example of how you can stumble. We can't be shouting out the work hubbies. Y'all are hilarious. The prayer, I'm saying, we got to touch and agree against dusty mustiness of our sons. Don't let my son be in that number, Lord. I'm telling you. I love free. Let me get a work. Y'all are missing the point. Y'all are not taking in this point. I should have thrown that example in here because y'all about to go right into the temptation, talking about, oh, they do be treating, they do be buying. You treating, I'm eating. Okay, like I'm not asking questions. Let's go before you change your mind or something like that. I don't know how I feel about work husband. Thank you, Yasmin, bringing it back full, like bringing it back into to being centered. Because I didn't have these folks about to fall. Oh my gosh, Lady V has a video on that. Oh, she does. I gotta check it out. I'm looking forward to that live you're having with her too. I can't fully hear as my sister's called about my mom's dog. Oh, no problem, sis. I hope everything's okay with your mom. I'm just saying they come through sometimes. I'm not even gonna hate because hey, in my heyday, I had me a work husband or two. But you know, your girl's self-employed now, so ain't nobody treating me unless he's cash apping me, which I have had that happen. But yeah, 9 times out of 10, I'm treating myself. The woes of working for yourself. She said, shout out to the work husband. Right. I'm over here talking, warning y'all about work husband. She's like, shout out to the work. I'm cracking up. Just like y'all be cutting up on my lies. I'm like, are y'all with me though? Are y'all with me? Because y'all going left. Like stay on topic. Stay with me. I should have thought about that example before I put it in there. But it's serious though. Like that's how it happens. So you have to be okay validating yourself because that's how the work husbands get a foot in the door. It's like that movie. What was that movie? Was it Temptation by Tyler Perry where what's her name? Journey. I think Journey Smollett or something like that was in it. And Lance Gross, if I'm not mistaken. And Cash App is good enough. Right. Either way, as long as we get in the coin. I need to go back in the office and find me a workout. Shay's like, wait a minute, I'm missing out. I could be getting me a little lunch here or there, you know. But that movie, yeah, it was Temptation. So, you know, that's how it happened because she felt like her husband just wasn't exciting. He wasn't validating her. He wasn't giving her that rush anymore. And so then she fell, and that dude ended up being the devil himself. And then she lost a good man. So it's like, you got to validate yourself. Or at least appreciate the value of validating yourself. Not that, like, again, you shouldn't look for validation from someone else, but you gotta stay centered. You gotta stay focused because that's when the devil sends those traps, you know, because then you're like, they're not validating me, this, that, the third. Nobody validates me. Nobody, you know, gives me compliments. And then you end up in the wrong company doing the wrong things because they can see that you're just yearning for someone to validate you, you know? So it's like, it has to be a healthy balance. You want validation, but you want it from a healthy place from other people and from a good source. You don't want it from just anybody that's going to help you stumble and fall. But you also got to remind yourself. See, this is where affirmations come into play, which, by the way, I am going to release them this year, y'all, just so you know. But I don't know when, but I'm just throwing it out there because I had said it and I mentioned it last year that I was working on it. So I'm still working on it. But, you know, that's where those affirmations come in, where every day you're like, yeah, like I am a daughter of the Most High. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I am, you know, the head and not the tail, or whatever you want to say. But you really can just look in the mirror and understand who God says you are, understand and appreciate your quirks. Like, yes, I might be goofy, but God made me that way, you know, or yes, I might, you know, have a weird habit or whatever the case may be, but you know, it is what it is. Like God loves me the same. So you want your sense of validation to be something that you can like uplift yourself through while also getting it from a good source, because it's also going to help your self-esteem and your self-worth too. Because when you say it over and over, and not just say it, but truly believe it, like I honestly believe like this is who I am and this is what God says about me, then it's going to radiate through you. Like when you walk in the room, people can tell. I'm telling you, like seasons where I went out and I was confident, like, y'all, I'm going out alone on Valentine's Day, perhaps. Well, I'm going to go out alone either way. I'm going to treat myself to a self date. I might have a date as well, but we're going to see. The verdict is still out on that one. But every time I go out by myself and I'm in a space in my life where I'm confident and I'm like content with where God has me and I'm just like at peace and whatnot, I literally walk in the room and turn heads. And I'm not even trying to sound conceited. Like you literally see like, whoop, because it's like the light of like, you bring that light in the room. Like they just can't help but like be drawn to you. And it's like, wow, like I got to talk to you. I got to sit next to you. Like, girl, I love your dress. You know, women are coming up to you and complimenting you. And it's just like, they just want to be around you, because a lot of people are struggling and suffering emotionally. So when they see that confidence radiating out of someone else, it's like, yeah, I need to get up next to this person. Like, I need a little bit of that in my life, type of thing. Yes, I love work husbands, but I know my worth and limits, period. You know, that was funny though, Kim. And the timing that you said it was funny. Looking so pretty, hun. Affirmations are keeping me. Hey, sis, how are you? I hope you're doing well. And yes, and thank you. And yes, affirmations are key to remind yourself, and just remember, I'm not going out in the streets every day. See, I'm going out before the weekend. Like, I'm going out with Christian Thursday. I'm going to take myself out to dinner on Friday. And then the weekend, I'm about to be grinding, because the tips and everything are going to be phenomenal. And it's Super Bowl weekend on Sunday. Listen, the money's going to be raining in. It's going to be really good. So I'm going to be out. If I do go on a date, it'll probably be Saturday early or Sunday early, but we'll see. Either way, I'm not holding my breath, because I'm treating myself, period. Like, it don't matter. Okay, see, this is what we're not going to do, showing up late because I just got the notification. What? You know what? But to your defense, I scheduled this impromptu because I didn't tape and edit, and I wasn't about to try to rush to do that today. So it's all good. But you can catch the replay, because we are wrapping up. I only got a few more points and I'm done. But yeah, believe in validating yourself, but with what God tells you. Like, you really got to believe it, and you got to say it over and over until you honestly really believe it, and celebrate yourself. Like, if you have a win, even if it's small, you know, you lost 10 pounds and you've been working hard at it, celebrate yourself. You did something great at work. And even if nobody else was like, hey, great job, you really rocked that out. You know, like, like, congratulate yourself, you know, whatever it is, like, learn to celebrate yourself just as much as you celebrate other people. Like, don't get into self-deprecation or anything, because we really are good with celebrating other people, but when it comes to us, it's like we fall short. So yeah. Wait, you're going to work now, Shay, or are you just saying you were going to work? But oh wait, no, sorry, you're talking about Valentine's Day. Sorry, I was like, wait, what's going on? But yeah, that work, like Super Bowl weekend and Valentine's Day, I was like, thank you, God, that you put them both together. Because last year, y'all, on Grubhub for Valentine's Day, I was getting $45 orders. I made $300 on Grubhub alone for Valentine's Day, and Super Bowl was not Valentine's weekend last year, I don't think. I think it was before. So yeah, it's about to be real good. It's about to be real good. Like, get up out there, y'all. If you want gig work, even for a little bit, not you did it all YouTube notifications just alerted me. Oh, it's okay. Yeah, like YouTube, they got to do better. They got to do better. You'd be like, I only have a few more points. Right. Okay. Pastors be like, only a few more minutes, an hour later, I'm still going. But no, for real, I really just have a few more points this time. So I just want to touch on why self-love does matter. I believe, even as a Christian, one, it determines how we love others and how we show up in the world. Like I've been saying all throughout this live, like, if you don't even have a healthy sense of love for yourself, and like I said, loving on yourself, not like selfish ambitions and sinful intentions, because I think that's what a lot of believers think about. But see, I just literally talked about randoms that I dated in 2020 and 2021 texting me. Why did one just text me? His ears must have been itching, like, oh, I think she's talking about me. But you know, not from a sinful point or anything like that, where it's like, yeah, like, I want to do, because we all have our sinful, wicked thoughts and stuff. Not like that, because that's iniquity. Like, we can't really help that. You know, I'm talking about how we treat ourselves and showing up even just a little bit for ourselves the way we show up for others. Because I know too many people who do the most for other people and not enough for themselves, to just be like, girl, I love you. Like, Rondelle, I love you, girl. We're going to take care of your health. We're going to take care of this or that in your mental, you know? So it matters, because it's a home base. If you're not in a good place, it's going to show to other people. At some point, it might not show out the gate, but at some point, how you interact with people is going to be affected. And it's just not going to be a good look. You're not going to be wanting to be around people. You're probably not going to trust people. You're just going to have a negative view of people in general. It's just not going to be a good look. It's so true. We forget to truly celebrate ourselves, no matter how small you think a milestone is. Milestone, any achievements are worthy of celebration. Exactly. Celebrate them things, you know. My dad was really good at that, both my mom and dad. But my dad is more so like the let's go celebrate and spend money type. My mom's frugal. So when we were growing up, even if we got an A on a test, my dad would be like, oh, we ordering dinner tonight, you know, or we gonna go get some ice cream. Like, he was really good at that, and just like celebrating every little thing. So it made us feel seen and appreciated. And I think that helps too as parents. If you have children and you're on this live, or even if you don't have children yet, This is just something to keep in the mental archives. Like, celebrate your children. I don't care if it's something that you think is so like mundane. Celebrate them. Like when Christian does what he's supposed to do. Some parents be like, well, I'm not going to applaud a fish for swimming, but I give him those affirmations, especially like, for instance, with potty training, where sometimes he might still have an accident here or there. And when he has like a long streak of time where there's no accidents or anything, I'm like, you're doing good. Like, good job. Some parents might be like, there's no need for all that, but I'm going to celebrate my child. Okay. I'm going to affirm him. I'm going to be like, you're doing great. When he points out little stuff to me, I'm like, you're so smart. Like, you did that, because I want to encourage him. I want to uplift him. And I want him to do the same for himself when he gets old enough, or when he gets to a point where he's able to understand how that works. I'm working as I listen at the full time now, but yes, I'm talking about me. Okay. Yeah. I had to think about that. I was like, wait a minute. Girl, you can keep going. I'm here for it. I swear I'm like a pastor. The pastor be like, yeah, I'm almost done. And then you be in there for a whole nother hour. Like, that's me. But I love talking with y'all on the live. I'm literally working on loving myself. And you're doing so good at it, sis. Like, I'm on that journey still. I think the next step for me is to attain a therapist, which has been an uphill battle, but with my insurance. But that's another story for another day. I got a part 2 of my mental health video coming up probably in March or something like that. Or maybe, I don't know if it's going to be March. It might be pushed to May. We'll see. Another reason why self-love matters, even as a Christian, is because you can't pour from an empty cup. Like I said, if you're depleted, like, how are you going to show up for people adequately? Like, have you ever tried to show up and help somebody do a task or errand or something? Or like, you promised them that you would show up somewhere and you're tired, you're hungry, maybe you're just in a bad mood, you're in a funk, like you had a rough week, and you show up because you don't want to break your commitment, but you're just not really there. Like, you're there physically, but in your mind, you're like, I just want to go home. I'm still mad about this or that happened. I need to eat. Like, you just, and especially when you're hungry, I don't know about y'all, but I get hangry real bad, especially because I need to eat. Like I said, at certain times during the day, to keep my health at a good, place. So if I don't, the lioness in me is coming out. It's like, I need to eat, like, it's just not a good look. So feed me, like, or let's be around food. Like, and when I think about it, which is a random note, I've never hung out with friends and we didn't break bread together. Like, who hangs out with friends and y'all don't eat something? Like, can we at least get a chicken sandwich, some chips, something, a drink? Like, I've never done that. I've never been around friends and we did not partake in something like some sort of snack or whatever. Like, people that do that with their friends, that is a new world to me. Like, that is a completely new world. I don't know what I would do if I did not break bread with my friends. Like, are you really friends if y'all don't eat together? Like, really? Kendall, these are questions I really ask myself in my quiet moments. Like, how do you hang with your friends and y'all don't eat? Like, why are we even hanging? Like, honestly, when I get around my friends, that's one of the first questions. Where are we going to eat? Like, before we do, where are we going to eat? We going to eat, period. Okay. So I'm just like, y'all got strength. If you can hang with your friends and not eat, because we going to eat at least some chips and have a water or something. Like, I just don't get it. I don't get it. If I'm seeing you for at least anything above 30 minutes, we're eating. I don't care. Like, we're getting something to eat, even if it's on the go, if it's on the drive-through, but we're going to be eating something. So, because I can't be my best self around you if I'm hungry, because you're going to tell, because I have a good poker face. But when I'm around people and like they're talking and laughing and doing life and I'm hungry, it's just like, you're talking too much. Like, my stomach is touching my back. I don't feel like having a conversation right now. I need to eat. Okay. When I eat, then we can go back to the laughter and the frivolity and whatnot. But until then, I need food because I'm on a one-track mind right now. What am I going to eat? Like, that's what I'm thinking about, So, and especially because most of my medications, actually, I think all of them. Yeah, I think all of them honestly require me to eat something. And so I'm like, I gotta eat. I gotta eat. I need food too. Okay. See, this is why y'all are part of my Del Dog community, because we're of the same mind. We're on one accord. When I have a meetup, y'all gonna be fed well. That's one thing you ain't gotta worry about. My meetup, y'all gonna be eating. There's gonna be music and there's gonna be food. Those are two things I need in my life. And that's another thing. People that do things in silence, like, how do you clean the house with no music? How do you cook dinner with no music? Like, it's weird. I need something. Even if it's not music, I need a podcast or something. Like, who is doing stuff in silence? Like, the only time I do stuff in silence is if I'm drafting like an email newsletter for my email list or stuff like that, where I don't want the noise to distract my thoughts. But other than that, if I'm cleaning, cooking, driving, anything, like, there's background noise, doing my hair, whatever, exercising, obviously, because I do dance workouts. So I don't know. People that can do that, y'all are of a different strength that I just don't have, and a different mind for sure. But that's point number 2. So you can't pour from an empty cup. Fill your cup before you go trying to fill other people's cups, because it's just gonna be nasty, and you just don't want to be out here snapping on folks and whatnot when it could have been solved from you just merely making sure you rest, making sure you ate lunch, making sure that you got your exercise in or whatever, or you handled that issue that you had or whatever. Like, it can all be so simple. So that's all that it really takes. And the third point as to why self-love matters is because it empowers us to continue, like, it empowers us to continue evolving into whatever God's best version of us is, because we're always growing, we're always evolving, like, we're never arrived. So, on this side of heaven. So yeah, like, you just want to keep being better. Like, I don't know about y'all, but that's just how I naturally am. It could be the way I was raised, the way I grew up, but I'm always trying to strive for better. I'm always trying to be better. I'm always trying to just, like, improve. Even if it's an area where I'm decent, I'm like, well, how can I be better? Like, what, there's always room for better. So that's just kind of how I see it. And like I said, none of us have arrived. Like, we've come a mighty long way, but there's still a lot that God has in store for us. So it's like, set the boundaries now, set the foundation now, so that way as you're evolving and you get to these places, like, you can be prepared for all that God has for you to begin with. Because I don't know about y'all, but I don't want to get to those high places that God has for me and my mind is not right, my physical is not right. I finally make it to that high place, and now my physical is all messed up, my mental's all messed up, my spiritual life is just in shambles. Like, I'm just not where I should be. So all of that is part of your self-love journey. All of that, your physical, mental, spiritual, emotional. Since I feel that there's always some type of background noise, music, YouTube, video, sermons, right? Like, the silence for me is a no. Like, I just can't do it. Hey, Kendall and Lexus Love, I love to see the greeting. I work in silence. I have 6 kids in my house, always loud. I love my quiet. Okay, you're the exception, because kids give you that constant noise. I only have Christians, so it's pretty quiet. Even when he's loud, it's like I can still drown it out, because most times I'm working in my office area and he's downstairs. And if he's in his room, he's typically reading or watching TV or something, so he's not too loud or getting into trouble. Because if he's too quiet, I'm like, wait a minute, something's off. Like, what are you doing? You're a little too peaceful right now. Okay, now that's a different story, right? Right, because kids, child, they can, especially when they're young and they're still, like, very energetic, so much to come. So we want to make sure that we're loving ourselves properly along the way. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing, because I think we need to take away, like I said earlier, the negative connotation of Christians practicing self-love. Like, I think you could do it in a way that's still honoring to God, and that still puts God first, because God doesn't want you to not love on yourself well by not treating yourself well, not doing the things that he knows are ultimately good for you. So it's not a bad thing. It becomes a bad thing when it becomes self-absorption, when it becomes narcissism, when it becomes being self-seeking and stuff. Like, that's when it's a bad thing. But if you're just practicing good practices, like how you would, think about how you treat someone that you love. Like, you're kind to them, you're patient, you're considerate, you go the extra mile for them to show them that they matter. You help them when they're sick, you take care of them and stuff, like things like that. How would that look if you're doing that for yourself? Like, that's not a bad thing, in my opinion, personally. It's so hard to work when kids are here. I know, like, it's just like they want your attention all the time. It's just like, child, I can't. Self-love, it really is a journey, and it looks different in different seasons. Maybe in this season, in your self-love, you need to really hone in on how you treat yourself mentally, your mental health. That's where, like, that therapy comes into play and stuff, like I said in my part 1 video, and I'm going to address in my part 2 of that video. Maybe it's your physical health in this season. Maybe you have not been eating the right things, you haven't been resting, you haven't been drinking water and stuff. So maybe it's just like getting back into that, because like I said, we can't eat like we're in high school anymore, y'all. As much as we might want to, we got to face the facts. We are in our late 20s, 30s, some of us in our 40s. We got to start acting like it. We got to start eating right, eating heart healthy and whatnot and stuff like that, so you can avoid different things that are more prone to happen later in life or could even happen now. And maybe it's your spiritual life. If your spiritual life is in shambles, are you really spending time with God? Like, have you been in his word? Have you been talking to him? Like having that group Bible study that we have this year, it's so helpful, because even though it's not like did y'all read today? Did y'all read? Like, we're not on each other, but it's like, it's encouraging, because it's like, well, I want to get up and read and share my thoughts with the ladies. They want to share their thoughts with me. We can glean from each other. They see things that I don't always see. I see things that they might not always see. And it's just nice to have. And it's encouraging when you're doing it with a body of people versus like by yourself, because it's like, okay, even if you don't get to read everything, just seeing that they're reading and they're gleaning and stuff is going to make you be like, okay, like I'm going to get it together. Like, at some point I'm going to get this together. And just talking with God, getting back in that prayer life. If you stumbled, it's okay. Just get back into it. Even if you got to start small, it's all good. God just wants to talk to you. It don't always have to be over the top. Like I said, it could all be so simple. We could literally just talk to God. Like, it don't have to be this long 1-2 hour prayer. If that's not where you're at, that's not where you're at. Like, don't feel bad if that's not where you're at and someone else is there. That's just where they're at in that season. But you might just be at the point where it's like, I could just do 5 minutes. But that 5 minutes is like real, it's raw, it's unadulterated, it's completely uninterrupted, and that's fine. Like, I feel like God would be more pleased with you giving a 5-minute earnest prayer than sitting in your prayer closet or your prayer, desk or whatever for an hour, and majority of that hour your mind is somewhere else, so your heart isn't really in it. Like, you're thinking about other stuff, or you're not really letting it all loose. Like, you're approaching God how you think he wants you to approach him and stuff like that. I think he will be okay or prefer the 5-minute. So that's basically that. I hope that this helps you. Like I said, I think self-love is something we all should practice, and Christians are no different. Obviously, it's not going to be self-seeking for us, but it is something that we should practice. And that's that. But anyways, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and go, because I do have to run errands, and I am preparing for Valentine's Day. Let me just see what y'all said. Hey, yes, facts. Hey, Kendall. Hey, Lex. I'm here for the greeting. Self-love is a journey. Wow. Yeah. And it's good that you at least started, because some people don't even do that, because they think it's a bad thing, or they think it's like, like, what would this person think, or what would God think? Like, no, it's okay. So at least you're taking that step. Thanks, Shay. I love it. So I don't have to wait for the crack the sky moment. Right, because we really be waiting for God to crack the sky. No, like, you can start today. You can start today. It's all good, sis. It is all good. But anyways, y'all have a good afternoon. I am going to be live again on Thursday. And Thursday, I'm going to be talking about dating as an empath. Stay woke. That's the stay woke is a part of the title, but I am going to be talking about that, because I am an empath and I am dating, and I talk to other women who are in the same boat as me, or have been in the same boat as me. And I just think that there are certain things that we need to use as like a quote unquote survival guide while we're dating and stuff like that, to avoid falling into pitfalls or attracting, like I said, those predators. So that's going to be Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. So remember that for the people that are Central Time, 8 p.m., but 9 p.m. Eastern. And then thank y'all, like I said, for voting on the Sunday kickback. So Sunday kickback 1. So that's going to be Sunday nights. That's going to start in March. And it's just going to be chill. It's going to be like whatever. Like, we just kicking it, talking about hot topics. I might do a story time. I might talk about something that is on my heart or mind or whatever. Like, it's just going to literally be like we just in the house just chilling, just, vibing or whatever. So that's going to be Sundays. I'm thinking around 7 p.m. Eastern or 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to probably put the time up for a vote, because now that I know that Sunday is preferred rather than Friday, I'm just going to put up a time for the vote. And then y'all can let me know what time on Sundays you would prefer. And I think I'm going to start it once a month, so that it's not like too overwhelming, because I got to do more research for my videos now and stuff with the commentary pieces. And then if it gains traction, and, as I'm starting to get in a financial position to where I don't have to do Uber as much, or I could really even cut back some more on Uber than I already have, then I'll probably do it like twice a month and slowly but surely increase it. So Woo to be an empath, right? It's like it's so tough because you feel for people, but you got to also have those boundaries in place. I need to be here for that. Yes. So I will see you guys Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. And then March will start the Sunday kickback. So I'm always encouraged when you do a live. Thanks, sis. And I'm glad I did it because I almost didn't do a video today. And I was like, girl, go live and stop playing. But I'll see y'all. Y'all be safe out there. Have a good day. I'll see y'all on Thursday. Talk to you later. Bye.